Verse 26. And Atura, the god of evil, taught mortals to flatten the head to make profits. And lo and behold, the land of Guatama became a land of seers and prophets and conjurers, seeking evil for evil's sake, consulting the spirits of the dead for war and for earthly glory in blood and death. Now here's the kingdoms of Guatama in that day. Now this is all going on in America long before our previous history of it. God's first book, chapter 25, verse 1 through 18. These then were the principal kings of that day. Like I said before, these names are so long that I'm just going to give you like the first 4 letters of them because of the extent of the names. These then were the principal kings of that day. Lano, Ibosta, a city of tens of thousands in the valley of Aragayastan. Lano was the son of Tuga, who was the son of Ivefra, who was the son of Oyoyu, who built the canal of Papio, which extended from the sea of Hula-Hulapan, in parentheses, Lake Superior, to the plains of Egon, in parentheses, Texas, near the sea of Sociapan, which would be what we call today the Gulf of Mexico, where dwelt Heotahaga, king of kings, whose temple was roofed with copper and silver of 10,000 boats, was the canal, extending along, carrying copper and silver from the north regions to the cities of the valley of Hapim Bapanpan, and to the cities of the mountains of Aram Galachacha, and to Gai, home of Hunga the first, the mightiest of red men. Verse 2. Next in power to Lano was Tesigemba, king of the city of Chusan, in the plains of Areza, in parentheses, Central America, with 12 tributary cities extending along the river Acayastas to the mountains of Nefsida. See the extent of these names too. I could imagine how they was trying to pronounce these names in the conversation in that day. Verse 3. And the third king in power was Shawasa, of the city of Inustaha, and to him were tributary 27 cities and their kings. Verse 4. Shawasa was the son of Taniham, who was the son of Thasiah, who built the great East Canal, the Osiwagala, in the rich valley of Taidaswano, and through the land of Siganigo, where dwelt the large men and women, the Angowapaka. Verse 5. The fourth great king of Guatama was Hugalamar, king of the city of Itusak, which had 17 tributary cities of tens of thousands of people, and his kingdom extended from sea to sea in the middle kingdom, in parentheses, Panama. Here was the temple of Galof, or Gilof, with 1,000 columns of polished mahogany, and with a dome of copper and silver. And within Galof dwelt the Oshi-Owena, the oracle of the Creator, for 2,000 years. Verse 6. The fifth great king was Pinambata, king of the city of Lascara, on the high Hiogala Ofat, in parentheses, Tennessee, with 30 tributary cities of tens of thousands of inhabitants. Here was situated the school and college of great learning, the Azohoho Putan, where were taught tens of thousands of students. Penambata was learned and had traveled far, devoting his life to imparting knowledge. He had 6,000 attendants besides 640 officers. Verse 7. The sixth great king was Hoajab, son of Teoatsin, founder of the Khel of Wubuhak. Hoajab's capital was Forjankahoma, with 33 tributary cities of tens of thousands of inhabitants of the plains of Higao, in parentheses, southern Ohio. Verse 8. The seventh great king was Hiroth, and his capital city was Hosug, situated in the plains of Misogowanchala, and extending eastward to the mountains of Ganzowas, including the valleys of the rivers Onpanga, even to the sea, in parentheses, Lake Erie. Hiro had 47 tributary cities of tens of thousands of inhabitants. Verse 9. Between the great kings and their great capitals were 1,000 canals crossing the country in every way, from east to west and from north to south, so that the seas of the north were connected with the seas of the south. In Kanos, The people traveled and carried the production of the land in every way. Besides the canals mentioned, there were 7 other great canals named after the kings who built them, and they extended across the plains in many directions, but chiefly east and west. Verse 10. These were Osagal, and Hela, and Phila, and Philios, and Anitia, and Eba, and Megichi Papa, and Wenpapo, and Hacho. And you see the extent of these names. They're very long. Verse 11. In those days, the kings and learned men put their heirs to working building canals and finding places and roadways for them. And herein lay the great glory and honor of men at that time. Verse 12. And God, perceiving the virtue and wisdom of men, sent his angels to teach man the mystery of canal making, to teach man to compound clay with lime and sand to hold water, to teach man to find the gall, the level, and the force of water. The angels also taught man to make pots and kettles, to burn the clay in suitable shape, to find copper ore and silver ore and gold and lead for the floors of the oracle chambers, clean and white shining, suitable for angels. Verse 13. And they taught man how to soften copper like dough, how to harden copper like flint rock, for axes and madlock, for building canals. Taught man how to work the ore in the fire and melt it, and how to make lead into sheets like cloth. Verse 14. Taught man to till the soil and grow wheat and corn. Taught the woman how to grind it and make bread. Taught the hunters how to slay the lion and the tiger and the mastodon, the hagawata, the rooting animal of wisdom. Verse 15. Beside all these inhabited regions, there lay another country to the far west, 50 days' journey, the land of Goishalabo, a place of sand and salt and hot boiling waters. And this region was a 20 days' journey broad east and west, and 50 days' journey broad north and south. Verse 16. In the high north lay the kingdom of Oligala, the land of giants, the place of yellow rocks, and the high spouting waters. Oligala, it was who gave away his kingdom, the great city of Pawa, with 24 tributary cities spread along the valley of Animosa, gave his kingdom to his queen, Meni, with the yellow hair long hanging down. And the queen built temples, 270, and 2 adjacent to the spouting waters, where her people went every morning at sunrise, singing and praising to Gichi, Maniti, the Creator. Verse 17. South of Oligala lay the kingdom of Wanwaga, around about the sea of Chusama, in the valley of Mahugoba, which is to say, consecrated place of the voice, a kingdom of 40 cities. Here reigned for 20 generations the line of kings called Rhinogosha, most holy and wise, full of manliness and strong limbs. On the eastward of the lake lay the Wuhotu Gani, the ground of games and tournaments, where came tens of thousands every autumn to exhibit their strength, carrying horses and ox, and running and leaping, running races with the trained agama. And to the strongest and swiftest the king gave prizes of handsome damsels with straight limbs and shapely necks, proud, who loved to be awarded handsome, mighty husbands. Verse 18. Next, south lay the kingdom of Himalaya, rich in legends of the people who lived here before the flood, a kingdom of 70 cities, and 6 great canals coursing east and west, and north and south, from Gahi Mountains in the east to the west mountains, the Ublaha, the place of the king of bears, the grizzlies, and to the south to the middle kingdom on the deserts of Giobetha, where the rivers empty not into the sea, but sink in the sand. Atura the false inspires nations to war against each other. In God's first book, chapter 26, verse 1 through 9, it states, Atura, god of evil, dwelt in hell, looked over the broad earth, saw the land of Guatama, the mighty races of Ahuans, and his mouth watered like a lion when a lamb stands before him. Atura called his legions, tens of thousands of devils. From the regions of hell came he, said, I have found a rich field place, a rich feeding place. Behold, I will make my kingdom wider and spread out the walls of hell and gather in this great harvest of innocent souls. Verse 2. Then came Atura's host of evil, 10 times tens of thousands, For such is the nature of spirits and men. Call for 10,000 to do a righteous work, and only 100 come. Call for 10,000 to do an unholy work, and behold, 10 times 10,000 come. They said to Atura, verse 3,